everybody, it's May and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a little bit different than what I usually do. Today I'm actually going to be talking about how I am a mostly completely paperless student. So originally I was gonna hold off on this video just because obviously with everything going on right now, our schooling situation is a bit different across the board. So I was gonna hold off until back to school season, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that not only are these tips just as applicable to online learning, but they might be even more applicable because now everybody is online. So that is what we are going to be talking about today. But really quickly, before I get into it, I do have a little announcement, which is so exciting. But I don't know if anyone has noticed, but I've had a pretty set in stone upload schedule for the past couple of weeks that I plan on sticking to. So I've been uploading Wednesdays at 11 a.m. But for the next coming weeks, I'm gonna try something a little bit differently. With the extra time that I have on my hands, I've found that I feel like I could be uploading twice a week. Starting this week, we are going to try out uploading on Wednesdays and on Sundays. So yeah, you should totally subscribe because the first Sunday video will actually be this week. So subscribe, stick around, turn on those post notifications so when you know it goes up. But yeah, so just to clarify, moving forward, my new upload schedule is Wednesdays at 11 a.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. Okay, yeah, subscribe, like, all the works. You know what to do. Let's get on with it. Okay, so today we're actually gonna talk about a couple of things. We're gonna talk about the devices that I use, the apps that I use, the benefits and drawbacks of going paperless, and yeah, just a few more things that I'm gonna sprinkle in there, I believe. So the first thing that we're gonna talk about is what I use to be a paperless student. The device that I use most often when it comes to schoolwork, not necessarily like anything to do with editing or anything like that, specifically for academics, the device that I use the most is my iPad Pro. So this is, I believe, I don't remember what generation it is. I'll look it up and I'll find out for you guys. But this is like the generation right before the most recent iPad. So you can see it doesn't have the multi-lens, it just has the one. This iPad case is so disgusting. We're just gonna take it off. I freaking love this thing so much. This is the 11-inch one. I literally bring it with me everywhere. Take all of my notes on here, all my textbooks are on here, all my everything is on here, and I absolutely love it. So if you are considering going online, this is the biggest device that I would recommend to you. I would literally, unless you're doing heavy editing or like photo or video or anything like that, this is what I'm gonna recommend to you. Top priority, mainly because it's cheaper than a laptop, but also it's so freaking versatile. Also, it's so thin and light. Even with I have the Apple Folio case on, and even with this on, this thing is literally paper thin. It's so light, and yeah, I love it so much. My only thing about this iPad that I will say is, while it is such an incredible device, if you're going to use it for note-taking and other school-related things, it's not worth getting unless you get the Apple Pencil. This little guy has completely changed the way I behave in a classroom setting. I take all my notes with this. I do picture editing with this. I just couldn't imagine using this without this. So that being said, I know this is a little bit pricey and we'll get into the prices and everything later on, but I just do want to add in here that if you are going to use this device or you are thinking about going paperless, this is what I recommend, but I don't recommend it unless you're going to get the Apple Pencil along with it. So this little guy is super nice because it's not like the old generation Apple Pencil where you had to plug it into the lightning port. The newer iPads actually have a magnet right here that your Apple Pencil attaches to. So I'll do this so you can see it. You literally, sorry, I have a bunch of things open right now. So you literally just take the Apple Pencil and it sticks right on, and then you can see right there, it comes up with a little Apple Pencil thing and it lets you know that it's charging. So it is wirelessly charging. While this, I do find this falls off in my backpack from time to time. Whenever I'm walking with it, I haven't lost it yet. So it sticks on there pretty good. If I shake it, it's not gonna fall off. But yeah, it does tend to come off in my backpack, I will say that. But there are things you can do. There are cases you can get to get this like definitely glued on there good. And then the second device that I use most often is my laptop. I use this, usually if I'm editing or doing homework, I'll actually use my laptop connected to a monitor so it's more of a desktop, but this is the device that I primarily use for all my editing, photos and stuff like that. But yeah, I also I write my papers on here just because I like this keyboard a little bit better. But yeah, if you want to get a Magic keyboard, they're totally compatible with the iPads, and so you can do it that way. You can also get the Smartfolio keyboard case, and it's basically the same thing as a laptop. But yeah, those are the two that I recommend. Now you know what devices I use, let's get into the benefits of going paperless. So these are kind of in no particular order, but these are equally important in my head. So the first thing that we're going to talk about before we get to the benefits is the actual apps that I use. The reason why I want to talk about this first is because a lot of the benefits tie in with these, so I want you guys to like understand what it is that I'm using before. So the app that I use mainly for schooling, which is what I take all my notes on, is GoodNotes. And here's my thing. I know there's always been a huge debate on GoodNotes versus Notability. I have tried both, and I personally will always choose GoodNotes over Notability. I personally like the interface better. I like the pens better. I like the organization better. Everything's just very much in front of you, and I can appreciate that. You can also like, I don't know if you, I'm sure you probably can do this on Notability, but I know on GoodNotes you can like switch between your notes at the top, kind of like you would tabs on a browser. And I really like that. So yeah, there's actually this really awesome video that I can't remember his name, but he did a whole in-depth thing on GoodNotes versus Notability. I'll link it, whatever side the card is on, I'm not sure, but I'll link it if you guys want to check that out after this video. Yeah, he goes super into detail about everything, and that is pretty much what I based my decision off of. Like I said, I've downloaded both, I've paid for both, I've tried both. GoodNotes is just better in my opinion. But yeah, this is what I used to take all of my notes on. Here is a little example of what my notes typically look like. Taking notes on an iPad is really awesome. Not only are you getting the same handwriting experience that you would with paper and pencil, so you memorize it better, but you're also able to customize it a lot better, and you can make your notes prettier because you can obviously erase things completely. There's no permanency to anything. You can also color code, which is a really big thing. Specifically with your highlighters, a really cool thing that GoodNotes does is whenever you use a highlighter, that color actually goes under the text instead of over it. So there's no like covering up what was already written, which is really nice. Yeah, you can also drag pictures and graphs onto your notes, which is really awesome. Another thing that you can do is if your teacher posted your PowerPoint or your lecture or anything, you can actually download that directly into GoodNotes and take notes straight onto there. So if you don't want to write everything down, but you do want to include something that maybe wasn't written on the slide itself, you can just go ahead and import them and then circle it, put your little annotation, whatever you need to do, and it's always going to be there. And yeah, that's one of my favorite things about GoodNotes is that you can import images and PowerPoints and things along those lines. The next app that I use a lot on my iPad is Google Drive. Personally, I'm not a huge Google person. I don't take my notes on Docs. I don't use their Google presentations. I don't use Google Calendar. I don't know. I'm just not a big Google person. But two things that I do use from Google a lot are Gmail and Google Drive. And the reason why I use Google Drive a lot is actually not necessarily for school stuff as much as it is for work. Like I said, I edit a lot of pictures on my iPad, and I make a lot of my graphics on my iPad for my clients. And if you guys want to see a video on how I use my iPad for creative work, yeah, let me know. I'm a creative media producer for an advertising agency, so a large part of what I do is editing photo and video and making graphics, and I do a large majority of that on my iPad. So if you would like to see that video, go ahead, drop a comment, leave a like, and I'd be happy to get that up for you guys. But yeah, I love Google Drive because it syncs directly to my Gmail, which is what I use all of my email for. Another app that I use a lot is actually the iBooks app. This is built into your iPad. This is what I open all my textbooks on and any readings that are assigned to me. For my intro to story class, every week we have 2 readings, and so it's really important that I have a place where I can store those and refer back to them. And I like iBooks because you can annotate the writing, which is really cool. So yeah, that's the third and pretty much final app that I use. Okay, now that we have the apps out of the way, the next thing that we are going to talk about is the benefits and reasons that I personally go paperless. These are totally in like no particular order. However, I do think they're all equally important. So the first thing that I want to talk about is organization. It is so nice having all of my school stuff in one place. There's no separate notebooks. There's no different textbooks. Everything is on the same device. All my textbooks are in iBooks. All of my notes are right in GoodNotes, and they're not all in the same thing. You can make different notebooks and different folders on GoodNotes, which is really nice. So while all of your notes are in the same place, they're not necessarily in the same notebook, which is one of the biggest benefits, in my opinion, of going paperless, is that you always have all your stuff in the same space. Going off of that, the next thing that I want to talk about is freedom. Like I said, because all of your stuff is in the same space, you can literally pick up and go wherever you want. And with iCloud, you can totally switch in between devices, which gives you a ton of freedom. And this kind of ties into another benefit that I have on my list right here, is that you have a light backpack if you have a backpack at all. Sometimes I don't even bring a bag with me now. I just carry my iPad in my hands, and that's all that I have for the day, and it's perfect. It's so nice. You don't have to worry about keeping up with a ton of things. You don't have to worry about keeping up with a ton of files and papers and things like that. Yeah, it's just very minimal with the things you're actually holding, and it makes everything very easy to find. There's no like losing a paper that your professor gave you once a month ago. Like, everything's there. You can just use your voice memos on your iPad to record. That's what I generally do whenever I have lectures. Because I have the newer iPad and it doesn't have a home button, you can actually change the landscape. You can hold it, as you can see, I'm holding it upside down. You can hold it this way, literally any way you want, and it won't matter. So what I like to do is, if I am taking notes on my iPad in class, I'll actually turn it so the microphone is facing the professor instead of me, and I'll take my notes and record the lecture at the same time. And I don't have to have a million things on my desk, since usually college desks, unless you're in like a lecture hall with tables, with like those long tables, college desks are generally pretty small. They're not as big as high school desks. So that being said, it's really nice to just have one thing on my desk. I can record my lecture and take notes on the same device, and it's not taking up a ton of room. This is also really helpful when I'm studying, because if I feel like I missed a note, or if I'm going through a study guide and I'm missing a definition, I can go back and I have my professor's entire lecture on hand, which is so helpful, especially when studying for like a midterm or a final or any big assessment coming up. So the last benefit that I have is, of course, the environmental aspect of this all. It's definitely one of those things where it's one of those things that could be an afterthought for a lot of people. I know that it might not be the absolute #1 reason that a lot of people go paperless, but you genuinely are making such a difference by choosing not to buy that textbook and letting someone else have it. You're making a good decision not to waste notebooks on notebooks, because think about it, at the end of the semester, if you've only filled half your notebook with notes, you obviously don't want to combine classes. So what do? You throw the notebook away, and then you've wasted half a whole notebook on clean paper. And I don't know, just it's the little things you can do to reduce your carbon footprint, and this is a really great way to do it. And honestly, when you make the switch, it is not as daunting as it may seem. In turn, you're doing so much for the environment. You're also encouraging other people to go paperless too, which again, you know, start small. Can talk to your friends about it. Talk to other people in your classes about it. Talk to them about the benefits and the drawbacks of it, and I'm sure someone will listen to you. But yes, with everything, with climate change and everything, it's really important that we each do our part in doing our best to save the beautiful earth that we were given. And this is such an easy thing that you can do to make such a big difference. Okay, now I want to quickly talk about the drawbacks. There really is not a lot of them, but the 3 drawbacks I'm going to talk about are pretty important and definitely something to take into consideration, but I just want to reiterate that to me, these benefits completely outweigh the drawbacks in the situation. So the first thing is price. Like I said, I personally am recommending Apple products for students if you're gonna go paperless. To me, it's just easier. It makes more sense. You get all your stuff across all of your devices without having to send it back and forth. And yeah, they truly are. They just have the better interface for it. And I'm sure we all know that Apple products tend to be a little bit pricey. However, you do have options. Don't think that you have to settle for the regular price on these. Apple actually does offer student discounts. Like, try and keep it on the DL, but I'm about to save you some serious dollars here. If you go on the Apple website and you scroll all the way down to where they have a bunch of those links that are in gray, where you kind of have to like scan through them, where they would have like about and contact us and careers and all those things. In there, they will have a shop for college option. They have Max. They have MacBooks, MacBook Pros, MacBook Airs, iPads, literally everything you could ever want for school, and they do offer it at a discounted price, which is really, really awesome. So I personally suggest you should take full advantage of it. Another option that you have for saving is buying refurbished. Buying refurbished is really no different than buying a new one. I mean, they purposefully sell them to be like new, and you're saving a ton of money when you do it. So like I said, scroll down to the bottom of the Apple website and they have a clearance and refurbish. I think that's the name of it. Click that link and there are literally so many options of different refurbished products you can get for such a good price. The second drawback that I'm going to talk about is the fact that just because you're paperless doesn't necessarily mean your teachers will be paperless. So like I said, I am mostly a completely paperless student, and anytime I'm not paperless is generally out of my control. Some of my professors are really just old school and they don't like computers. They find them to be distracting, and I get it. Some kids just will not pay attention if they have a laptop on their desk. Personally, I'm not one of those people. If I'm in class, I paid a lot to be there, so I'm taking advantage of it. But yeah, a lot of my teachers will prefer to give out paper handouts, or like I turn in a physical paper for like my English classes or whatever. So that is one of those things. In terms of this, there really is not a whole lot you can do. It's not like you can go up to your professor and be like, hey, I'm a paperless student. Do you care if I email you my thing or whatever? Chances are they're gonna say no, absolutely not, give me a physical copy. And yeah, that is a little bit out of your control, but it is something to consider that you should still have a folder somewhere to keep paper handouts that you get. Also, I generally keep a folder in my bag because I'm sure we all have those teachers that are like, take out a piece of paper. So I have a folder where I keep about 15 pieces of loose leaf, that's it, and then any handouts that those teachers give me. Okay guys, I think that's it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget, check out that video that I was talking about. I'm gonna have to find out who posted it originally. I can't remember his name, but it is really cool. He goes totally into depth about Notability versus GoodNotes, and it was so helpful whenever I was trying to decide between the two. So yes, I'll go ahead and link that for you guys. Again, don't forget to subscribe because I'm now posting twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays at 11 a.m. Okay guys, yeah, I think that's it. Like, comment down below, subscribe, follow me on all my socials. They'll all be in the description below. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Peace.